All right. Welcome in to the Pharmacist and the Photog Games, Grooves, and Grub. I am the local pusher, Dion Spencer,
You pusher man.
alongside the sports video voyeur, I guess, Steve Moss.
You're tan too, bro.
Yeah, I've been.
Look at you.
We had a little week off, and it's fading already. But I did spend the last week in Mexico with the wife and my two adult kids and one of the significant others of the said children. First time we've been to an all-inclusive with adult kids, and so it was fun. It was different for sure, and you know, unbeknownst to us, we managed to pick a resort that was definitely geared towards the younger set.
That's good.
There were a lot of people there who were our age and a couple of decades older than us for sure. I don't know if they knew what they were getting into, but this resort was a whole lot of fun. There was stuff going on pretty much 24/7. The party pool, which I called it, there were two pools. At the party pool, there was a DJ there from 10 a.m. until midnight.
Wow.
Every day.
Wow.
And so we had fun there. We're typically beach people, so we spend tons of time just
As you should.
lying on the beach. But at this place, there was so much fun and activity going on at the pool that we spent more time at the pool this year than we've ever done before. The DJ made it really cool. I didn't know there was a dance mix of Metallica's Enter Sandman or, you know, various Alice in Chains and stuff like that. But
Good to know.
you can find it, I guess, if you are a Mexican DJ, and that's what you need to do.
Wow.
But yeah, cool, a lot of fun. So yeah, so we're trying to catch up here after a couple weeks, and even though we're closer to football than we are to basketball at this point. The basketball situation, there's been, I won't say developments, but we know a lot more about what's going to happen with the basketball season at this point.
Yeah, I think so. The conference schedule was released by the league, the Southeastern Conference, last week. I'm losing my
It all
mind
runs
here.
together.
Yeah. And so basically we now know the full schedule. As we're talking about Kentucky men's basketball. 3 more games were added or announced yesterday as part of the Big Blue United, the BBN United Classic, which I think is the 5th or 6th different name that this
Right.
round robin thing is being called. But basically, Nicholls State on November the 4th will be the season opener now. Then they come back against Valparaiso, which is the second of 3 teams in this BBN United. Go to Louisville.
On the 11th.
Yeah,
November
let's
11th.
interrupt the BBN
Right.
United thing to go to Louisville and play the arch rival, and then come back and play Eastern Illinois. Nicholls State and Eastern Illinois will be the first time that either of those 2 teams have ever played Kentucky.
Yeah.
And then you've got, the rest of the non-conference, and then you get into the conference schedule. And, if you, at first blush, if you look at the schedule, I think they've got a really good shot of, coming out of there like 14-4 or.
Absolutely. I think so. I was excited to see, even though we're talking about Nicholls State and Valparaiso, I was happy to see those games get added because we've got 2 pretty high-profile exhibition games in Purdue and Georgetown University out of D.C., not our Georgetown here
where we are
in Central Kentucky, but we got Purdue and Georgetown University. But then basically, right off the bat, we were going to run into Louisville at Louisville.
Right.
So I really like the fact that we're going to get a couple of games under our belt, granted against lesser competition, but still real-time game action against a couple of teams to maybe work out some kinks before we head into the Yum Center and have to face Louisville. So I'm happy with that.
I am too. And then you keep looking down, and you've got Michigan State. You've got North Carolina in Rupp. Gonzaga in Nashville. You got Indiana, resuming that rivalry They come to Rupp Arena, and they haven't been to Rupp Arena very often at all. The last time I remember them coming to Rupp Arena, aside from an NCAA tournament win that they had in Rupp, I think I'm trying to remember the guard who played at IU was suspended that night because he posed for a calendar that raised money for some charity in Bloomington.
It's been a long time.
Yes, that's the point. St. John's, and then you get into the heart of the SEC schedule. I think it's fairly manageable.
Yeah,
is I guess my overall opinion on this.
Yeah, the other thing that kind of stood out to me is UK doesn't get their first real road test until January the 3rd. They go to Alabama. They go to Tuscaloosa and play Alabama. So to get, November and December, with no real road test. I mean, we've got all these neutral site games for sure, but we know how Big Blue Nation travels. Those will be pretty much like home games. So to get all the way into January before we hit what will be a good Alabama team,
and by all accounts, Alabama might be a little down this year
compared to what they have been.
Compared to what they've been, right. Yeah. You've got to go to Tennessee. You got to go to Florida. So those are going to be some hard games for Kentucky.
Yeah, Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, and then you end the season at home against Florida like it always used to be.
Right.
So that's kind of cool that you might be playing for an SEC title.
Yeah.
On Saturday, March the 7th against Florida at Rupp Arena. So Rupp could be really rocking.
Yeah. Which would be awesome because we need some of those high-profile games to matter, I guess, in Rupp. I was just, kind of looking at the overall stats of this schedule, and UK will have 21 games against teams that were in the NCAA tournament last year. They will play 7 of last year's Sweet 16, 5 of the Elite 8, and then 2 matchups against defending national champion Florida. So that's a solid schedule, when you look at the overall, the non-conference versus conference and everything. That's a lot of good basketball teams that we're going to play.
But I think Kentucky has a very manageable schedule as far as the conference games goes. Again, I think I could see a 14-4, maybe a 13-5 kind of year, and then hopefully they can make hay in the postseason.
Yeah.
They won a game last year. I think all bets are off this year. I think Pope, kind of the honeymoon is over when we get to that point, and I think Kentucky needs to make a pretty good run at the SEC tournament and then do what they did last year and then some in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, I mean, and I think, of course, everything looks good on paper. On paper, this does look like a better roster. I mean, there are more athletes on this roster. The guys are kind of spread out as far as, Pope, I feel like he addressed some weaknesses in the transfer portal for sure. He went out and got some length. He got some defenders, that kind of thing. So, hopefully we don't have as many just games where we're just watching guys streak to the basket, score easily and on the inside.
Straight line drives.
Yeah. So, and a lot of that, of course, is going to depend on, when does Quaintance get healthy and get in the lineup. But I am encouraged by, the rumors out there anyway that, like Malachi Moreno, who I thought would probably ride the bench a lot, seems to be having flashes of, playing really well in practice, that kind of thing. So we need that out of a 7-footer for sure, especially if Quaintance is going to be, a little bit late getting back. Another guy that we're hoping gets in the mix sooner than later is Andrea Yelovich, who apparently is going to be finally on campus sometime within the next couple weeks.
Before classes start is what Mark Pope said.
Yeah, and I mean, Yelovich himself posted apparently on his Instagram on August the 6th, which what is today? I don't even know. 12th, 13th, something like that. Anyway, on the 6th, Yelovich posted that he would be in Lexington in 2 weeks or less, is what he said. So, he's a guy that, even though he's a little bit more known for his offensive skill set, fact remains the dude's 6'10", 6'11", and has been known to be able to step back and protect the rim a little bit. So
Sure.
we might need that until Quaintance makes his way back onto the floor. So
one of the things I heard or read recently was that Jaden Quaintance is making more progress than they anticipated, and now they're having to back off of it a little bit because they're a little too giddy in how he has responded to some of this stuff, and they think that he can start running really soon, which, you know, if you're running in August, that's only going to mean that he's going to be close to ready to go by November.
right.
So that's good news.
That's what you think. I mean, and you know, you like to think that we can. It's so much speculation. I mean, if he's in any kind of game shape, you could expect maybe him to just see a few minutes in the exhibition games, maybe a few minutes in the BBN United, Nicholls State, and Valpo games. You know, anything he could give us against Louisville would be obviously a bonus. You know, I'm not going to get bent out of shape. Of course, I want to beat Louisville. I don't care if we're, you know, who can fly a paper airplane the farthest. I want to beat Louisville in that. But, you know, a November game, I'll take a loss in November to watch this team gel and get healthy and be ready to make a strong run at the end of the season. I feel like they'll be okay.
Yeah, I do too. I feel a lot more comfortable looking at the schedule and just kind of projecting where people are going to be. You know, if they get Yelovich, that's just icing on the cake.
Right.
If Quaintance is playing by late November, to me that's icing on the cake.
Yeah.
So yeah, I
mean,
there's no reason not to be optimistic about this schedule.
Well, and I've seen, you know, more than one report talking about the fact that, you know, people are so pumped up about the transfer guards and things like that we brought in, and they're like, you're totally discounting the fact that there's a very good possibility that day one starter at guard is going to be Noah. That Trent Noah has played really well in practice.
Yeah.
So
I've seen reports that he might be the best shooter on the floor right now.
Yeah. And I think it's just a matter of confidence for him, just getting the reps and getting the time on the floor and being confident that, yeah, I can compete with these 5 stars and that kind of thing. Of course, he was highly recruited, but, you know, I guess there's a difference between being highly recruited out of Kentucky versus being on these, you know, on these all-star high school teams that, you know, these JUCO and or not JUCO, but what do you call it? The circuit,
AAU?
the AAU circuit. Yeah. So, you know, those guys seem to get all the love. So hopefully Noah can, you know, take advantage of the unexpected playing time he got last year to parlay that into, you know, confidence and leadership in year 2. So also on the basketball front, I guess this week, like I said, I was in Mexico, so I didn't stay on top of a whole lot, but the NCAA tourney is going to stay at 68 teams.
Yeah, that came out last week.
Year, so
yeah, and it's worth noting that they said for now.
Yeah.
Which means it's open for expansion next year. And I hope that if they decide to add teams to the tournament, that it's you make the Dayton the hub for the first week, and you have 4 play-in games, which would mean you would add 4 more teams.
4 teams. Yeah.
To what you already have, because going beyond that, you know, it's just one of those things I don't think you should touch. It's not broken.
Right. I agree. And it's just all boils down to the money.
Absolutely.
They you know, sell more tickets, sell more TV rights.
It's one more weekend
another weekend. Yeah. It's just, and I get that. I understand that. But, you know, is it, and you'll get the occasional Cinderella story. Sure. But, you know, ultimately, is that worth it? I don't know. I guess for the fans of that particular team, it's worth it. But, ultimately, you dilute the product, I guess, at a certain point. Where do we reach the point of diminishing returns as far as the size of the field.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think you got a good thing going there, NCAA. Don't mess with it.
Yeah.
CBS, don't mess with it.
Yeah, but they will.
Of course they will.
They'll
It's their
mess
nature
with
to
it.
tinker with that stuff.
Yeah, they'll do that. They, and they got to generate more cash, because they continually throw out these gigantic contracts to different leagues to get.
Well, and now players are getting paid.
Yeah.
So that argument's going to be made.
Yeah. So it
Give us more money.
Yeah. So I don't necessarily. I love March Madness. I love the NCAA tournament, but I don't know that I feel like they need to expand.
Right.
Concentrate on. I'd rather see the football playoff expand because I think that maybe is a little bit more significant, and they've been able to do that in what used to be the old Division II in NCAA football. It's worked forever there to have an actual tournament. So we'll see.
My only concern would be injuries.
Yeah, absolutely. Heading that direction, college football is right around the corner. We've got preseason number 1, Texas.
Yep. The
First
AP
time
poll.
ever.
Yeah, the AP poll came out, and Texas number 1, Penn State number 2, Ohio State, Clemson, and Georgia is your top 5 in the AP poll.
Yeah.
10 SEC teams ranked in the top 25, which figures.
I think we play all of them.
Vandy actually got some votes. I didn't really look to see who Kentucky didn't play out of that 10.
We play a bunch of them, that's for sure.
Vandy actually got some votes. Kentucky got nothing.
Yeah.
Which is kind of par for the course after they were picked to finish 15th in the in the league by the media, us idiots.
Yeah.
In the past 10 seasons, the preseason number 1s have only won 1 national championship.
Yeah.
So think about that, Texas Longhorn fans.
That was Bama in 2017, so
Yes.
it's been a while.
And 2 of the last 3 preseason number 1s haven't even made the playoffs.
Yeah. So that's
Texas fans, we're looking at you.
Yeah. So I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens with Texas. I mean, they've
got some good.
They're
offensive
loaded.
Players.
They're
Yeah.
absolutely loaded.
Barring injury, I think they get there.
Yeah, I think you're right. But that SEC schedule, man, you just don't know what's going to happen. I mean, think way back, I don't know how many years ago that was. LSU came into to Commonwealth Stadium and they were looking to steamroll to an undefeated national championship, and Kentucky knocked them off in overtime. Still one of the best games I've ever seen.
Yeah, that was quite the atmosphere to be down there on the field.
Yeah, pretty amazing. But Kentucky, we've talked about how tough Kentucky's schedule is going to be, and we've just been focusing on the SEC portion of the schedule. And here we're totally overlooking the fact that in week 1, we got to open against a Toledo team that is a legitimate football team.
They are, and they're picked to finish 2nd, I think, in their league.
Yeah.
I did read something, however, that I didn't know this was even out there in terms of dirty teams. And I mean, like, when you factor in penalties and giving up yardage and scoring, Toledo is ranked number 1 in the country.
Wow.
Number 1 in the country based upon penalties and the numbers of points that they give up on average.
Yeah.
So, but this is one of those games that Kentucky has to win. They traditionally start a little slow. Mm-hmm. They've got to come out of the gates fast here. That UK did have their first scrimmage this past Saturday, and Mark Stoops said he was very pleased with how his team responded. That they picked things up a little bit. They are a little sharper than he suspected or expected. Didn't make as many mistakes, and they got in a lot of situational work. Good. Third downs, short yardage, 2-minute drills. So the only issue is that Cutter Boley is still right there neck and neck with Zach Calzada as a starting quarterback. I think because of the money UK has invested in Zach Calzada, bringing him here and promising him whatever. I think he's going to be the starter. But I keep hearing people say, but by the time the season rolls around to the last couple of weeks, Cutter Bowley may be the starter.
And I wouldn't be surprised.
And that's okay.
Right.
It just means there's good quarterback competition.
I think if Cutter doesn't get a significant amount of playing time throughout the season, I think he's gone at the end of this year.
Could be.
I think he leaves because
But they're going to go to the portal anyway
Right.
next, after this season's over, and whether he returns or not, he's going to be facing yet another guy who's coming in here who's got plenty of reps under his belt. Probably is going to get paid more.
I'm so torn on that because, I mean, to me, that's been the number one knock I've had on Stoops the whole time he's been here is he's not developed a quarterback from the ground up. And I feel like Cutter could be that kid. I mean, they threw him to the Wolves last year against Texas, and he didn't play that bad.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like, give him a line, and hopefully
he was playing behind a pretty patchwork offensive line.
Yeah, but in that game, I mean, they cannot get off to a slow start, like you said, against Toledo. I mean, that team, they've played SEC schools. Granted, last year they beat Mississippi State. The only team, I guess, that's ranked lower than preseason than Kentucky. But still, they didn't just beat them; they demolished them. They put up over 500 yards of offense. They beat them 41-17, and they're not afraid to come into a hostile territory against a team that maybe has a perceived, I guess, a reputation of not being the toughest guy on the block, which is Kentucky. And so they're going to come in, I think, with a chip on their shoulder. And if they'll be like a shark with blood in the water, I'm afraid. And so Kentucky can't afford to make any mistakes early on.
You're right. They've got to get off to a quick start.
Let's don't have any, 13 guys on the field or whatever, after timeouts and just stupid penalties that we seem to rack up in spades. But, hopefully.
Well, I had a chance to eyeball them at Media Day. I didn't go to – Media Day was on Friday last week. I didn't go to the Saturday open practice fan day kind of thing. I was off. Just – some observations. The running backs look great. Mm-hmm. They're big guys, and Stoops has said he's going to pound the rock. And I think getting back to some of that would be really good for Kentucky.
Yeah.
That also means that offensive line has got to hold up. They're big, and they've got some guys up there who have a lot of experience, but they don't have a whole lot of depth. So they're going to be charged with trying to generate and cultivate some depth at that position like John Schlarman used to do. Defensively, their defensive line is pretty small. Stoops said they were twitchy, which to me means like we don't have a lot of size, but I'm hoping we're fast.
Hope we're fast enough, yeah.
Linebackers, I'm not sure. Defensive backs, probably the strength of the whole defensive side of the ball. So,
which is good, at least.
Yeah,
get something.
but there's no depth at all on the defensive line, and they're small. So it's going to be interesting.
That's going to be tough when the long, hard SEC season for sure. The one dude that is we kind of singled out that is getting a lot of publicity and press is I guess it's Shiyazh Pete.
Yeah.
Transfer from New Mexico State. He's
Navajo.
He's Navajo.
Yes.
Yeah. Grew up playing football on a reservation and oftentimes there were only 11 people on the team, had to play both sides of the ball. Dude is 6'8", 325.
Yep.
And
actually, he said he was like 351.
Oh wow! So he's even bigger than. I'm sure they beefed him up. The nutrition program at UK probably is a little different than New Mexico State, I would imagine. But I watched a couple of interviews with him this week, and man, you talk about the dude is extremely well spoken. Seems to be incredibly
intelligent.
Yeah, and very intelligent. Seems to be incredibly humble. One of the local media personalities interviewed him, and they asked him about coming to Kentucky, and they said, why Kentucky? And he said he came here for the competition of the SEC for sure. Said he also was fairly well swayed by the food that they they exposed him to on his recruiting visit. He went to Tony's, which that there are definitely worse places you could go and have a steak than Tony's in Lexington. So it's pretty cool. I mean, granted, like I said, the guy was playing for New Mexico State last year, but in the 2024 season, he had 193 pass blocking plays where he had the opportunity to protect his quarterback, and on those 193 plays, he allowed only 5 quarterback pressures.
Yeah,
which that's pretty solid. Now
he's
going to be playing a little different,
up to
a little different competition.
The relegation part of this is he's advanced to the next level, which is the NFL D League, and I hope for his sake, and I hope for our sake, that he goes out and plays well and has a great year. Because I could sit and listen to this guy talk for hours.
Yes,
for hours. I'm not kidding you. He is so well spoken, but he also thinks about everything he's going to say before he says it, and it's very elegant.
Yeah,
almost.
he's not a
and a I mean, at one point we asked them the question, and I don't remember what the question was, but he looked to the heavens, and he kind of tilted his head, and he thought about it for a second before giving his answer.
Well, I mean, and
here's a guy. He called Mark Stoops. The reason you mentioned the reasons that he came to Lexington, but specifically Mark Stoops, he called him a statesman. He's a football coach.
Yeah.
How does he get statesman out of that? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's going to be fun to watch him. He's definitely going to be one that's going to be easy to cheer for. And who knows? We said it a couple weeks ago. We talked about players who get just discovered, and like we talked about Josh Hines Allen being one of those guys who, good grief, was committed to Monmouth,
right,
and is now one of the studs of the NFL.
Yep.
So who's to say
True.
Shiyazh Pete is not one of those undiscovered, just raw talents that his skill set will translate no matter. I mean, at 6'8", 320 for 350,
let's get back to recruit and develop. Like they did previously.
Yeah, so hopefully the dude gets a charge. I feel like he's the type of player who's going to take the challenge on and make it a personal thing.
Agreed.
To better himself and better the team. So that's exciting. And I'm sure that Calzada or Boley, whoever it might be, will be happy to have a guy who's 6'8", 350 guarding him on one side of the line.
Yeah.
Let's
hope it's a blind side.
Yeah, no kidding. I do believe it said they mentioned the blind side.
He was a left tackle.
Yeah, so
yeah, if you get a chance to look on social media, look up Shiyazh Pete, and he said his name sounds like massage, so that you kind of that G there at the end.
Yeah,
but look up him doing the Rubik's Cube.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Oh yeah, he talks about algorithms. He's looking for algorithms in the cube itself. I thought that was something that computer whizzes were worried about.
I was always happy when I got 3 sides of a cube solved.
He explains the whole thing. It was very cool. Very cool.
Well,
my new favorite interview.
Well, hopefully players like him and maybe Calzada, maybe Boley can be the players that make me eat some words throughout the season. I really hope they surprise us.
Same. It'll be a fun year to cover them if they're good.
Yeah, if
they're competitive. I just want to be competitive.
Right.
Just be competitive.
The schedule's so tough. I'm not really into moral victories, but
yeah,
let's just surprise us a little bit is what I want this year. So anyway,
I'm with you.
Yeah. So college football, college basketball, both seemingly right around the corner. We've talked about several times here that neither one of us are giant baseball fans, but the week that I left on my vacation was the Bristol Classic Major League Baseball's
which has now become the Bristol disaster.
major. It was their marriage with NASCAR, and yeah, I did not keep up with it a whole lot when we were traveling, and then I started seeing stuff pop up on social media that made me investigate a little bit.
Have you ever watched the documentary on the Fire Festival?
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah, it basically turned in.
Nobody lost their lives that we know of.
I mean,
but
I don't know that NASCAR and well, bigger point here is Major League Baseball could not have fumbled the bag anymore.
Well, because MLB came in and said, we will handle the logistics. Well, wait a minute. Why would you do that when Bristol has put on a race every year, or several probably?
A couple races.
They've done the football game between Tennessee and Virginia Tech. They've probably done some other things. And why would baseball come in and say, okay, we know how much food we need here. We know how many souvenirs we need. They ran out of all that.
Yeah.
Ran out of all. And we're this close to running out of water.
When Bristol, I
Dumb.
mean, the
Just
way they set the field, so they sold 91,000
Yes.
91,000
Yes.
tickets, and that left another 40 to 50,000 around the track. They didn't sell those because the field wasn't going to be
Sightlines.
visible.
Yeah.
So you've got Bristol, who puts on 2 major races a year with 125,000 plus people. They know how to big numbers. And like you're saying, the fact that the previous record for Major League Baseball was about 85,000, and that's only been done once, and then they had a few other games in the 70s. So you don't know how to do 80, 90,000 people.
Well,
so why not take advantage of the Bristol expertise and let them handle those kind of things? We'll put the field down. We'll take care of ticket sales maybe, but you guys know how much food we need.
Yeah.
You know how much beer we need.
This was a debacle.
And then you throw in, and granted, some of the curveballs came from the weather.
Yeah, 5 hours of it, by the way.
But the thing is, they've got radar. They know what's coming. And
You would think.
it just boils down to MLB's greed and not wanting to issue refunds for a canceled baseball game that they had to push it over into the next day.
Yeah, and half the people showed up.
So
Well, I don't blame them.
they knew at 2:00 in the afternoon on Saturday what was going to happen. There are times when you can look at a weather forecast and say, "Oh, this is kind of iffy." This was not iffy.
No.
The radar pretty much indicated that there was going to be a blanket of rain, and it was going to roll in, and it was going to be there. They could have made the decision at that point to, okay, we're going to have the game tomorrow, and I think it would have given people a lot more time to prepare for that and possibly return for the game on Sunday. But all the reports are indicating that people were leaving the track at 10, 11 p.m. at night on Saturday, didn't know at that point exactly what time the game was going to happen the next day. So
The right hand didn't know what the left hand
it was just
doing.
handled very poorly.
Yeah.
And I saw people were complaining about in addition to them running out of concessions, they were talking about the souvenirs. And a guy in an article I read, a guy said he bought a shirt and a cap and it cost him $170.
Well, that's on him.
Yeah, that is on him.
That's
But
on him.
I also kind of agree
Who's
with him
paying
to
for
the
that?
point of, it's kind of like, is that how you treat your fans? I mean,
You could
come
get that
on,
stuff
try to-
online next week
But
when they get the shipments in.
on the bright side, all those pre-game concerts, they had great weather for that. So I mean, the game playing, prime game playing time was eaten up by those concerts, and then it just turned into a disaster.
Yeah.
So
Fire festival.
I don't look for Major League Baseball to return to Bristol anytime soon.
I think they should try it again, but let the people who own the track, who deal with the track on a weekly basis, handle it all.
let them do it. And we didn't.
Don't go in there thinking, "Oh, we're Major League Baseball. We'll handle
We can
this
handle
the way we
this."
want
Well,
to."
Yeah, I mean,
BS.
there's
BS.
and we didn't really talk about this prior to, but I'll bring it up. You probably got some opinions on this, but there was some stuff came out in the last day or so. Not really saying it would happen, but Barnhart says that potentially Kentucky basketball
Don't get
could
me started
play
on
a
this.
game at Kroger Field. It will forever be Commonwealth Stadium to me, but the potential for playing a basketball game at the football stadium in November. I'm no genius on this kind of stuff, but I do remember when they tried to play an NBA basketball game on the surface of an aircraft carrier. That's
a
been
little different.
But the weather issues and the fact that they had condensation and made the floor all slippery.
I'm going to disagree with you on this one, because I have said forever you could hold Midnight Madness at the stadium. You would set records for attendance. You would obviously fill your coffers with a little more money. You've got unbelievable parking.
Right.
The parking situation for a basketball game at the stadium would be ideal.
Yeah.
And you could sell the place out.
Yeah, you could sell 65,000
And the thing
tickets.
is, you could make the call by noon that day as to whether you were going to play it at the stadium or play it at Rupp Arena. Tickets are still free, right, at both places?
Right.
Right?
You'd have a lot of pissed off people if they moved it to Rupp at that point.
That's the dice you roll if you go, well, I'm going to drive from Hazard to Lexington and hope that I can get into the football stadium, knowing I can't get into the basketball. I mean, I feel like it can be done.
Now,
and I feel like they should try to do it, especially now that, Pope is here. Mitch has apparently done a complete 360 degrees on his attitude on a lot of things, like having concerts at Kroger Field,
selling alcohol at Kroger Field,
selling, doing all these upgrades, spending millions of dollars on upgrades to Kroger Field and the suites. I think it's worth a try. You put the floor down that morning, and if there's any hint of rain, you take it up. And you just keep the one at Rupp Arena down, and you do it there.
See, I don't worry so much about the rain. I just feel like
I don't think there will be condensation. We're not on the ocean.
Well, I don't know. I feel like you can get that damp. I just feel like you could have an issue with that. Now, I feel like Big Blue Madness is a different thing, or Midnight Madness, wherever it's called now, because that usually takes place in October?
Yeah, it's like October. It's like right around October 15th.
But they were throwing out the possibility of a game in like you could try. Somebody brought up UK U of L, and you're talking about mid-November. I'm like, you can't do.
There have been some Novembers where it's been 60, 70 degrees.
Well, I mean, for years, I argued.
My point is, why not try it?
I would agree with doing madness, trying madness there. I totally agree with that.
Let's crawl before we walk.
Now, for years, before we had Stoops delivering 8-9 wins a game, I was all for. I felt like at that point, the University of Kentucky needed to go all in and throw a roof on Commonwealth Stadium and just make that the basketball arena, which I still.
I mean, that might not be out of the realm of possibility.
When they talk about wanting an on-campus venue to play basketball in, and
the
even
parking is ideal.
The parking's amazing.
You could charge people $15 a car,
Yeah, and people could tailgate
how
before basketball
about
games.
that?
We could be like Lambeau Field with barrels of fire and keeping us warm.
He even mentioned the hockey game, the NHL hockey game. He said we have a pro team in Columbus. We've got a pro team in Nashville. Maybe they would want to meet in between. Look, Nebraska did it for volleyball. When do they start playing volleyball?
Right.
October.
Yeah. True. That's
September. True. Nebraska did it at their football stadium for volleyball. 91,000 people came for a volleyball scrimmage.
Yeah. I'm still a fan of, put a
I've been saying this for years.
Put a retractable roof on.
I think they could do a basketball event
Kroger
there.
Field and let the Cats play basketball at Kroger Field. I'd be all for that, even if it meant throwing up temporary bench or seating on one side to reduce it down a little bit and open it up, because there are still thousands and thousands of people in Eastern Kentucky that don't have access to good seats at Rupp Arena. They never will because they don't have the finances for it. Hell, I don't have the finances for good seats at Rupp Arena.
The other part of this issue is that Rupp is owned by the city of Lexington, and their main tenant is UK.
Yeah.
And I applaud UK for not wanting to break that,
just bail on
break that tradition. Yeah, and leave them in a lurch, because then you've got a 23,000 seat arena sitting there for a dozen shows a year.
Yeah.
You know, that would fill it, maybe. I don't know. I think Kentucky could absolutely play a scrimmage game at the stadium, or to even do Madness.
Yeah.
I felt that way for years.
Yeah.
But
I
just felt like they were, that logistically is too much work for them.
It could be, but like you said, hopefully with Barnhart,
you could sell the heck out of that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I've been to the last. Of course, the last one was 2012, but I also went in '96 and '98 when Kentucky won the basketball championship. They had the homecoming pep rallies at Rupp Arena, and the tickets for those events were free.
Yeah.
You just had to go get in line. And
well, the NCAA said they couldn't charge.
Right.
Now they might. Now they might be able
change
to
that.
charge.
They might change that.
Yeah.
But in 2012, basically, after Kentucky won the championship, we got through celebrating that night. I don't know, midnight.
Yeah.
I basically went, took a shower, brushed my teeth, and got in my car, and I drove to Rupp Arena and got in line about 2 a.m. so that I would be guaranteed that I would be in that building when that team came home, because that was also the first year that both of my kids had started watching UK basketball. So I wanted them to experience what I had experienced in '96 and '98. Because I'm not going to lie, in '96 when they won the championship, it was me, my wife, and my best friend and his wife, and we stood shoulder to shoulder in Rupp Arena, and I'm not going to lie one bit. I stood there with tears in my eyes because it had been since '78. It'd been 18 years to see that team come home as a champion, and it was cool to take my kids to that. And
I was there.
I smuggled my big camera in with my giant detachable lens that they told me I couldn't bring in, so I just retreated. I did what any normal human being would do. I retreated to a bathroom and stuffed it down one leg of my pants, and then looked for a somewhat clueless older lady at the next door, and got in there and took some awesome pictures. But so anyway,
sneaky.
Yeah, that it's just Kentucky fans, man. We're a little different breed, I think. Now you try to be.
I went to school there, so I can be.
But you're a member of the media,
boy,
so you have to stay.
And I've learned to keep it close to the vest and not wear it on my sleeve like some of us.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just a diehard. I will,
in the quiet of my own home, when I'm watching a game, I might yell at the TV
I've got a fairly intense string of texts from Steve that indicates that he is a little more invested than he might admit. But anyway,
I've seen a lot of basketball games on their nickel.
Yeah, that's true.
Traveled to a lot of cities on their nickel.
All right.
Been
Sports. We'll keep an eye on all this. We've got coming up in the next, in the next few weeks. I'm keeping an eye on the PGA, the championship or whatever they call it now. I don't even
Silly
know.
Season.
FedEx, yeah.
So
I'm watching that a little bit, but soon we'll have the Ryder Cup, which will definitely draw my interest.
Yeah.
Also keeping an eye on locally, a guy we've talked about here, one of our local kids, Trace Woolhoyt, has been tearing it up in low A baseball in Port St. Lucie. He got promoted to Brooklyn to high A. He's hitting the ball out of the park almost on a nightly basis. So I feel like if he just keeps getting those reps in.
Great Crossing High School, right?
Yeah. Yep. So super pumped for him. The kid has worked hard, and I'm just hoping that he can stay hot and keep moving up. Of course, the season's getting closer and closer to ending.
Right.
So hopefully he'll.
Well, that just means he's going to have a good shot at starting next year in like Double-A.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. So yeah, Trace Hoyt, keep that name in the back of your mind because I think you're going to hear more out of that kid. But anyway, I think that's probably it for sports. We didn't have a ton of stuff that we were necessarily dialed in on music wise. I don't have any concerts coming up. I don't think. Not anything in the near future, but here locally, at least close to us, an hour away over in Louisville, they have yearly. They have two music festivals. One's called Bourbon and Beyond. One's called Louder Than Life. Bourbon and Beyond.
Back-to-back weekends,
too. Back-to-back weekends.
Crazy.
Bourbon and Beyond is a kind of a smorgasbord of music and styles. I mean, last year it ranged anywhere from Wayne Newton up to Beck and some other guys. Tyler Childers, I think, was there last year. So, I mean, it's really all over the map. Louder Than Life is exactly what you would expect. It is a metal
Well, they've gone
fest.
Exclusively metal this year.
Yeah, it's hardcore. I mean,
last year we went. Was it last year or 2 years ago?
2 years ago, we saw the Foo Fighters, and we saw Weezer and the Foo Fighters. We kind of got over there. We got some freebie tickets, which was nice, and made our way over to catch the last couple bands of the evening, which happened to be Weezer and the Foo Fighters. I don't think Weezer and the Foo Fighters could cut it in the lineup that they've thrown out there this year. It's hardcore. I mean, it's
Lamb of God.
Yeah, it's like Slipknot level. I don't know that Slipknot's there this year, but it's.
I wrote down a couple of that I would like to see. Yeah. Rob Zombie, Breaking Benjamin, Stone Temple Pilots.
Yeah, which
those are probably the mild groups compared to, and there's like 175 plus. They've got 7 stages going.
Yeah, so
take your pick.
Yeah, and Louder Than Life is the second weekend. Bourbon and Beyond is I guess it's runs September 11th through the 14th. It's 4 nights, Thursday through Sunday, and it's just an incredible lineup. I jotted down a couple bands each night. Thursday night, Lumineers, Alabama Shakes, Cage the Elephant. Friday night, Fish is doing 2 sets, which I'm a jam band guy, so that would be awesome for me. You got Crankben, Joe Bonamassa, who's one of the greatest guitar players on the planet. Saturday night's the night that has my attention, and I'm still not sure that I won't try to snag a ticket. But you got Sturgill Simpson, Jack White, and Ringo Starr are the 3 that are the most interesting. But even below that, you got Third Eye Blind and the Pixies,
Goo Goo Dolls, Foreigner, Pat Benatar.
Yeah. I mean, and on Sunday, Noah Kahan, who has exploded over the last 2-3 years, dude's an incredible songwriter. The Goo Goo Dolls, Nathaniel Rateliff, Foreigner, Blues Traveler. I mean, so it's going back in the Wayback Machine for Steve and I on Sunday night. But Blues Traveler, Jim Blossoms, and Spin Doctors. So. And you can look at those lists, the lineups, all the way down to the bottom, to the tiny print, are good bands. And they've always had multiple stages, but this year they just in the last week or so they came out with you talk about like reinventing the wheel. They took what I guess had been the format for, I don't know how many years they've been doing these 2 festivals, but it's been a while, and they totally kind of started all over and moved the stages around. And this all happens in Louisville at the site of the Kentucky State Fair, the exposition fair and exposition grounds. And they've rearranged. The main stages are still where they've always been, but they've moved all the auxiliary stages.
Yeah, there's even one in Kentucky Kingdom, which the amusement park.
Right. So now your ticket and your entry fee. Also, you can ride some roller coasters in between bands. If the music's not enough for you, you can go to the amusement park. But when you look at the way it's laid out, I mean, I've heard pros and cons. They said you better put your running shoes on because if there's a band you're wanting to see on one of the smaller stages that butts up to one of your bigger bands, it's pretty spread out.
Yeah, it's a haul.
But I think their goal was to maybe change the way some of the parking was set up to eliminate some of what they call sound bleed, because if you've got multiple stages set up in a festival ground, you're going to get some of that carryover from one area to another. So they're trying to eliminate some of that. So, kudos to them for being willing to not just take the money and, keep same old.
Well, it also, by spreading it out, enables him to put in more shaded spots, some more air conditioning situations, more restrooms, more concessions, i.e. more money.
Yep.
So, I would like to see it.
Yeah, there's definitely some. I think the changes, at least on the surface, appear to be things that would be good for. You're going to have. It's
already a good festival, both of them.
Yeah, and
well attended.
Right. I don't know this. I haven't 100% researched it, but I think both of those festivals, when you look at like the size and the number of attendees, they both fall top 10 in the United States as far as just the size of the festival. So
logistically, they're on consecutive weekends, which just makes it crazy.
Yeah,
because they're 4-day events.
Yeah.
So it's 8 days out of 14 that you've got 300 bands coming in.
Yeah. And
it's nuts.
Thousands and 60,000 people per day in to watch these bands. So, I'm, at my age, in my physical condition, sometimes I'm not necessarily. I don't know that I could do a 4-day festival unless I was.
I would like to try, but
forking
I don't think I could do it.
Unless I could fork out the cash for the VIP and get some seating. Until I get 2 kids out of college, that's not going to happen. I can't do.
We had the ideal situation when we went a couple of years ago.
Right. We had concessions
right there. We had restrooms right there. We didn't have to fight anybody to get to them.
Yeah,
and we had a good view.
Yeah, so pretty awesome.
Yeah,
got to check off a bucket list band.
I will be asking to see if there's any freebies around.
No kidding. And or maybe you need to, if no freebies are available, maybe you need to cover it. You need to go as a journalist.
I don't know that they would allow that camera in there.
Oh, you just flash some
maybe
sort
for
of
10 minutes.
You don't flash a badge or anything like that, and be like, I don't know, but so that's the music talk for us anyway. At least around Central Kentucky this time of year, Bourbon and Beyond and Louder Than Life kind of take over everybody's thought processes, because it's a chance to see some really awesome bands pretty close to home. Sort of music related, we had on our notes Howard Stern.
Well, I was going to ask you, are you a Howard Stern fan?
I have watched. I've watched because he used to be on, was it E Network, E Entertainment?
That's the only place where you could hear that language.
Yeah, exactly. I used to watch that all the time, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was funny. To me, he was edgy. Back then. That's been, we're talking
shock jock.
Yeah, we're talking 25 years ago when I was watching him on television. I haven't listened to him since he made the move to Sirius 20 years ago. But I always liked him because he, I felt like he kind of pushed the envelope a little bit, which I enjoyed.
Quite a ways.
But I remember when he made the jump to Sirius, granted, I understood why, because the money was just absurd.
$500 million.
That's his current contract.
5 years, $500 million, 3 times.
Yeah. So
he upped 2 more times after that. The guy has made over $1 billion from this deal.
Right. So, right now, so he's nearing the end of this last 5-year deal.
Up at 25.
And for all accounts, it looks like that's going to be it for him.
He's 71.
At Sirius. He's 71 years old, and I hadn't really thought about
that. Money spends all day long.
Yeah. I mean, I hadn't thought too much about his age, but then when I read that in print this week, I was like, oh, well, yeah, I totally get it. I mean,
but he also came back and said, with technology, I can do this from home.
True. And
now he can't get people. He can't get bands in there and unplugged and all.
Right.
I mean, he could, but you'd have to probably fly to Florida and
right.
That was part of the appeal to me, was he would get those. He would get
popular. He got our guys Kiss in full makeup in his studio, and they performed in his studio, which is cool.
But they also let their hair down and talk to him on his level,
which
so you got a lot of behind the scenes stuff.
Right. Which that's been the thing. That's kind of been one of his selling points, I guess, over the years, is he's been able to bring people in. For years he had, on multiple occasions, he had Trump in, and he was a big Trump fan.
Oh,
well,
not no more.
Not anymore. He and a lot of people are like, that might be why his, they're speculating that's why his listeners have dropped. That's why he's no longer, his outspoken political views. And I don't necessarily think that listeners have dropped because of that. I think there are just so many more outlets now. Sirius is kind of one of a kind at that point.
Before you were streaming music on your phone.
Yeah, and now you're streaming, podcasts are such a big deal. And you got so many people who've made the move to various outlets and are doing podcasts, and maybe, he's no longer, the stuff he says or does no longer shocks anybody because of what we're numb to it.
Yeah, you could argue he was the first podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
The very first podcast. It was just by how he did his show.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't necessarily, I don't think it's unusual at all for today's media consumers, given when you look at demographics, to not want to listen to a 71-year-old man.
Well, there's incentive on the other side to keep him too. I was reading something tonight. Some guy who's an analyst and crunches numbers for a living said that SiriusXM would probably lose 15%. Just if Stern said tomorrow's my last day, so on Friday, the day after, 15% of all SiriusXM subscribers would go, I'm done. That's almost 2.5 million people.
Yeah.
So you do the math and see what kind of hit they take. So there is incentive on the other side to keep him.
Yeah. And
I mean, they're paying him $500 million, $100 million a year. That's what he's getting, $100 million a year. So there is incentive for them to pay him even more. I don't know how you do that, but whatever.
If anybody would like to pay us a few $1,000s a year to just talk about, well, I can be as shocking as you want me to be,
right?
For the right cash. But I don't know. It's just kind of crazy to think what
the king of all media.
The king of all media. And if you've not the movie, it's been years since I saw the movie.
I haven't actually gone that level yet.
The movie was pretty cool. I enjoyed it. Of course, he played himself in the movie, which was interesting. Yeah, he's one of those kind of guys.
Who could play him?
Right. I don't know who you would get to play. Anyway, we'll keep an eye on that. I don't think there's going to be any shortage of people. If he decides I want to continue broadcasting my voice over whatever airwave, there's going to be somebody out there who will pay him something.
Well, he would be competing against himself, because here's a caveat to that. So if he cuts himself loose, SiriusXM owns his recordings, all of the shows that he's done for 7 years.
Wow. Okay.
So they would no doubt probably replay all of them. Yeah. Or try to play whatever they can. So he would be competing against himself.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of wild.
Yeah, there's there's so much with like I said, the different media outlets now. I saw an article this week talking about the personalities that ESPN has cut loose over the last 5 to 10 years, and they extrapolated out what those guys now make on other platforms like the Colin Cowherds and those guys. They basically said that ESPN kissed $1 billion goodbye. And I believe that when you look at what some of these podcasts have done, and ESPN has then decided to funnel basically all of their cash into Pat McAfee and Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah.
And honestly, those two guys are kind of the reason I've stopped. I just don't turn the volume up anymore on ESPN.
It's angry. It used to be called Angry White Man Radio. Now it's like just angry sportscaster radio.
It's just not. I just don't enjoy it. I appreciate.
I'm not a fan of either.
Yeah,
I don't like all the boisterous. I don't like all the blowhard part of it.
Yeah, give me. I enjoy the video coverage, but that's why my current model of muting the television and listening to music while I watch sports, that seems to work for me. And I don't know. I can't help but think that other people, if they would try that, would probably enjoy that. But so I guess we'll just keep an eye on all that stuff and see how it works out. But music wise, did you buy any records recently?
No,
I've been buying a little bit. Like the last time we got together, I had just bought those 2 big batches on Facebook Marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
Since then, I got in. I've got it sitting over on that turntable. Was the new Billy Strings live when he recorded last year at the American Legion Hall in Nashville. He played in front of about 250 people, just nice. A surprise pop-up show, and they recorded it, and it's amazing. It's an incredible record. I did also this week. I pre-ordered the new John Baptiste. One night,
talked about doing that.
Yeah. It popped up on my Facebook feed, and there was an option to order a signed version of the hot pink vinyl or something. So I'm a sucker. My algorithm knows exactly when to punch me when I'm down, and so I ordered that. Picked up today. Went to Pops in Lexington, my go-to, and grabbed some classic funk Ohio Players greatest hits. And while I was there, I bought Muddy Waters double LP with some greatest hits kind of stuff on it, which is really good as well. So I got a lot of records to listen to because obviously last week I was gone, didn't listen to anything. So I got a whole bunch of stuff I need to be listening to. But I'll do that over the next week or so. Once I get the second kid moved off to Syracuse, I'll come home and we can start doing the remodel here at the house. And I still sneak down here a little bit and try to maintain a bit of sanity by listening to some music. But food and beverage wise, obviously on vacation last week, that was the name of the game for us, was eating.
Yeah.
And at an all-inclusive, you eat a lot.
Yeah, or you should.
Yeah, the place we were at was really cool. It didn't have a ton of restaurants. We've been to some all-inclusives that had a dozen restaurants. This one had about 5, I think, 5 or 6. But they did vary up the menus from like lunch to dinner and breakfast and that kind of thing. So we did a little Italian, lots of Mexican, obviously, just a variety of different things. But had some good food, lots of beverages. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, you texted me one day and said, I'm about 14 drinks in.
Yeah, it was.
And you're able to text me?
Yeah, it was. There was a little bit much, a little too much consumed from time to time.
I showed Shannon that. She goes, how many?
Some of the you go to some of these all inclusives and the beverages are, you can argue that they're watered down.
Yeah.
So it depends on what
they know you're going to drink a lot.
Yeah, they know you're going to drink a lot,
and you're in the sun,
right? So we did find some good stuff. We found a couple of bartenders that we liked a little bit. My wife zeroed in on this one guy at the pool who he just said, "What do you like?" And she rattled off a few ingredients, and he managed to put together this drink for us that was amazing. One of the best things we had all week. So we kind of zeroed in on that and had those. But lots of good food. Lots of, I'll throw up some pictures of the various things we did. I think I don't know what my favorite food was all week. We had at the Italian place the first night I had a lamb chop that was amazing. The Mexican place near the pool had some great tacos, various things. We did shrimp, we did steak, and they were doing wood-fired pizzas right beside the pool. So several days you just jump out of the pool and have a couple slices of pizza and then run back and get back in there. And the hibachi crazy enough, hibachi at the Mexican restaurant or the Mexican resort was really good enough that we went there twice throughout the week. You don't
Nothing wrong with a good hibachi.
Yeah, you don't expect that to be the case.
As long as they're not doing too many tricks.
Yeah, our guy, I don't think our guy was, I think he was fairly new.
Okay.
He dropped his, he was spinning his spatula and things a little bit, and he dropped them a couple times. But he was good-natured about it, and ultimately fixed us some good food. So I couldn't complain too much. But we had a good time. We looked at the possibility of maybe returning to that resort over spring break, but the price differential between last week and spring break is fairly significant. So we might have to look at another option.
Sell some of these records.
Whew, man, I'd have to sell about all of them to get that trip taken care of. Wow. Yeah, it's expensive, but we'll see. We definitely. I don't know that we would go back to this resort without our kids. That's kind of what made it so much fun.
Sure.
But we'll probably return. My wife and I will probably return to Mexico about January. I've got a few days off, and that's kind of something we're looking forward to doing. But we'll see. But till then,
it's a good date. I applaud you.
Yeah.
You always try to get her going somewhere.
Yeah,
it's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, and it works out well because in November is Emily's birthday. We're going to New York City to see a couple of shows. I've got that trip planned. And my birthday's in January, and the way it falls, and I'm fortunate in that my job, because of like Martin Luther King Day and the way my schedule works out, I basically get a 5-day weekend right around my birthday that doesn't require me to take any vacation time. So, we looked at that again. We did that last year and we had a good time. So we're like, we're going to do that again this year and go on another trip, probably to Mexico, just because it's cheap. I mean, Mexico's cheap. So, but it's fun. Don't let you'll see on social media, it'll say, travel advisory to Mexico. Yeah. I'm not saying go to, Tijuana.
Right.
We go to Cancun, we go to the resort, we don't leave the resort. We have a car takes us from the airport to the resort, and then the car takes us back to the airport. So that's the way to do it. That's the way to do Mexico, and it's fun. And it's outside of Disney World. I don't know that I've ever been anywhere where I hear more languages spoken than we've heard when we go to these resorts in Mexico. I mean, we encountered people last week from France, from Italy, from Germany, just literally all over the country. There were people at our resort from Australia. And I mean, it's like, why would you come from Australia to Mexico?
You got the same kind of weather.
I don't understand, but I guess they just want to get away.
Although, being south of the equator, I think they're heading into their summer.
Yeah, they're heading into summer.
So it's probably still chilly.
I mean, that's true. I mean, and then
plus you're, going to a place on the planet you've probably never been.
True. I guess so. I mean, I guess they want to travel just like us.
And it's cheap, as you say.
Yeah, it's cheap, and it's a lot of fun. So anyway, anything else? You got anything else other than what we're drinking?
I was going to ask you if you've heard about this Smoothie King thing.
I have not. You sent me that in a note, and I did not know what you were talking about, and I didn't.
So I guess it was last week. Smoothie King announced they were going to put out a Heinz ketchup smoothie.
Why? That'd be my first question. Why?
I don't know. It's like $6. I've read a couple of reviews, and they've been positive.
How stoned do you have to be?
Well, somebody even said it's Smoothie King's way of saying, see, tomatoes are fruits.
I mean, did the guys from Oreo get a job at Smoothie King? Because I've always maintained that that's how Oreo comes up with all these flavors.
I do like their birthday cake.
Oreo's got a couple guys in
Yeah.
product development that just sit in a room and smoke weed.
Maybe.
And
But we
they're
wouldn't
like,
be talking about Smoothie
you know,
King if they didn't.
I mean,
Right.
I will not be trying a Heinz ketchup smoothie.
And it's made from, how do you pronounce it? Acai?
Yeah,
Acai, yeah.
I don't know.
Sorbet and raspberries with just a hint of ketchup. And most people are saying that you can't really taste it as ketchup per se. There's a hint of it there that you mostly get the raspberry.
To me, this falls squarely under the category of just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Agreed.
There's no point. There's
All
no
right.
point doing that. But
Anyway,
we'll
that was
see.
the only thing left.
That's pretty funny. I will not. I mean, I understand kind of the fascination when everybody got on the dill pickle train and was doing the dill pickle stuff.
Yeah.
Because I can kind of get behind that. I can see that translating to a few things, but ketchup flavored beverages, I just don't get
Yeah.
that. I
It'd
don't
be like putting out a mayo flavored smoothie.
right. I
don't get that.
I don't think any of our local breweries have done any ketchup flavored beers. Thank goodness. But tonight we're doing from Ethereal. We're drinking Citra all the way down. Now this is one that I had several weeks ago, probably a month at least ago, in their tap room on draft, and at that point they hadn't put it out in cans. They did it like the next day. I think they released it in cans. But for me, Citra hops that's the cheat code. I'm not a brewer, but if I were a brewer, Citra hops are the cheat code. You can make a good IPA simply by adding Citra for the most part. Most IPAs, they'll use a combination of hops to reach the aromatic and flavor qualities that they're looking for. But then occasionally they'll do single hopped IPAs. In this case, they used Citra hops and then Citra Cryo hops, which Cryo hops are just like super concentrated kind of forms of the same hop. But I really like this one a lot. It's just grapefruity.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's got just that whole citrus. Yeah, I mean it makes sense. And in typical Ethereal fashion, it's just really good, very well done. So I enjoy it. They always do good stuff. If you're in Lexington, highly recommend hitting. We don't have a lot of breweries in Lexington. They're all pretty solid, so you pretty much can't go wrong no matter where you go. But I do lean a lot towards Ethereal and Country Boy, and those are in West 6 are probably my top three. But again, I can go to any brewery in town and have something that is very, very good. So we're fortunate in that regard. So again, this one's one of my favorites.
The new Country Boy
solid.
Location is open.
Yes,
it's open now.
We hadn't talked
It's
about
over
that.
there.
In the off of Walton,
In that area,
Winchester Road area.
Yes.
There's a
behind where the old Harold Leader building used to
Mm-hmm.
be. They share the building with the pickleball people,
courts.
PKL.
Yeah.
I think there are 8 courts under roof, and then you have 3 golf simulators, I believe, and Country Boy.
Yeah, and Country Boy's doing obviously the food and beverage.
Yes.
And here in Georgetown at the Country Boy location, we're well aware of they do great burgers, that kind of thing, and I think they're leaning on burgers and barbecue at the new location. I was intrigued. I saw a picture this week somebody posted of a burger with their fries, and I think out at the Georgetown location they do just a crinkle cut fry, which I like, but at the new location their fries are more of a steak fry, kind of a wide, thin. They're kind of hard to describe, but I'm intrigued. I want to go check it out for that alone. But yeah, everything looks good. It's going to be fun to see what happens with Country Boy in Lexington, because their original tap room's not that far away from from this location. So I'm hoping it doesn't do anything to that. Just I think they'll be okay
because
it's going to draw. The demographics are different.
The original tap room is smaller on scale.
Yeah.
The parking lot is not as big. So,
yeah. So I'll have to get over there and hopefully in the next few weeks and check that out. Maybe at least one of us can and kind of give our thoughts on it. But it looks like a fun spot. I don't play pickleball. I don't need to get out there and like rupture my Achilles or anything like that. Attempting to be athletic at this point in my life. So I'll let Steve do that if he wants to go play some pickleball. But
I'm too much of a traditionalist. I don't like ping pong or table tennis on a tennis court. So that's my take on pickleball.
I do.
Although a buddy of mine, his son is running all of that over there. Tyler Wilson's kid, I forget his name, is running all that. So Georgetown connection, all the way around.
It looks like a great time. I mean, it looks like a lot of fun. So I wish them all the best. So anyway, I think we'll wrap it up and we'll try to find something else that we can talk about next week. Maybe we can go visit one of those places and check it out. But I think next week we may stray a little bit from the beer.
Bourbon.
No, we're not gonna do bourbon. Are you an L8 guy?
Oh, not really.
You
Are you
like
doing the
LA?
pawpaw thing?
We're gonna do so here in Kentucky. If you're watching us from somewhere else, we have a ginger soda in Kentucky called Ale8, ALE-8, L81 is what it's called. And there's
Ale81.
Yeah. But anyway, they over the last 5-6 years they've started putting out some special edition flavored versions, and this year their flavored version is a pawpaw, which a pawpaw is a fruit that's kind of like
indigenous to Kentucky,
kind of like a mango. Yeah. It's mango-ish, banana-ish, but in the base L8 is not it's not a really hot ginger like some ginger sodas. Has a little sweet ending to it. I love it. It's usually a love or hate kind of thing for most people. And full disclosure, I've not really enjoyed a lot of the flavored L8s they've done. Cherry, blackberry, orange. They did an orange like creamsicle that tasted like baby aspirin. But this year's is pawpaw, and I have tried it. I'll leave it at that.
I'll try it.
We're gonna try.
My daughter loves it.
We're gonna try it, and we may toss some bourbon into the mix because as soon as I heard that they were putting out the pawpaw L8, I immediately thought that could be a good pairing.
I've actually heard it was good. Yeah.
So anyway, we're gonna. I've already made up my mind. We're gonna stray from beer next week. We're gonna do some ginger pawpaw soda / bourbon, and we'll see what we think about that. We'll make Steve a fan before we're done. So until then, find some kind of sports to watch this week and listen to some good music. Go out and support your local eateries and breweries and maybe pawpaw soda makers. And until then, we'll see you next week.